And now, a math lesson. Let's say the Zaxby's chicken finger plate comes with 4, 5, or 6 hand-breaded fingers and 1 side of Zax sauce. Plus, you can try them with Zax sauce, honey mustard, hot honey mustard, tongue torch, teriyaki, wimpy, nuclear, barbecue ranch, sweet and spicy, insane. How many possible combinations does that make? Carry the 2 with the remainder... a lot. Zaxby's chicken finger plate. The sauceabilities are endless.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
It's the most wonderful...
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good. 6 great locations in the Tallahassee area, and then you got Douglas, Georgia, and you got Marianna, Florida, and you got Thomasville, Georgia as well. Try the Zax sauce. You will like it. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Use the promo code WARCHANT30 for 30 free days of access to the website. If you're listening to this on an iOS Apple device, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, preferably with the 5-star variety. Say all the good things you want about Corey. Whatever you got to do, just give us 5 stars. Come on. Be part of the solution here. And to the friendly folks on YouTube, thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up button. We would appreciate that. Corey Clark, there you are. How are you, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah, it was good. Had an interesting little Monday. Ran a couple of errands. When I was back home, I grabbed my old baseball mitt and my soccer cleats out of my mom's garage. These things have literally been cooking inside of a backpack in my mom's garage in the Tampa area for the last 12 years. And so I bought like some saddle soap because I'm going to clean this glove. I'm going to rejuvenate my glove, bring it back to life, and play catch with nobody. Just needed some projects, when you're a single guy, you need projects. Right. So it looks pretty good. I got it all cleaned up and stuff, and then I got to apply some oil to it. It's like the relationship between a man and his glove. It's special. It's a special athletic sort of bond, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't understand why. What do you need a glove for? Are you joining a softball team, or you just
maybe that'll be my 2021 thing. Like, let's get back out there and make some friends.
Okay.
Although it'd just be so weird. Like, hey, I'm 38. What's up, man? Like, hey, you guys want to grab a beer after this game? Like, can I be your friend? Right. Well, really weird. If not, just at minimum, I'll probably put it behind me here in my built-in bookshelf behind me. Give a little added flair to my Zoom calls and stuff. So,
Well, congratulations, man. That sounds like fun.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. So we'll probably, this show won't be all that long. Maybe Michael Langston will be on at the end of it to talk about recruiting. Maybe I'll just talk about it myself because I did speak to Michael Langston. Want to play a couple clips from, I think, the star of Monday's press conferences, and that was offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham. We did speak to Mike Norvell, John Papuchis, and Adam Fuller. I think they all had some pretty good things to say, but I kind of wanted to start with one of the things that Dillingham talked about. This was a question I asked him. Corey, we'll get right to it. It's going to be probably pretty little bit long. It's about a minute of Kenny talking. But I like hearing Kenny talk. I think a minute of Kenny talking is like the equivalent of, 5 seconds of me talking.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. So with that said, the offensive coordinator of your Noles pretty much asked him, you're not a heart surgeon. You can't make these kids want things more. But has the layoff maybe wanted these kids or made these kids motivated to try harder? This was his reaction.
I think from Tuesday, so 6 days ago, last Tuesday's practice, we came, I don't know what it was, but they came with something extra. And I wish I could tell you I gave the best motivational speech like we're about to be in the movie 300, but that wasn't it. Our team it clicked. It clicked a little bit. And they said, wow, I need to sprint on the field like this. Maybe I haven't been doing it as hard as I could. And I think that's part of just progress. It's nothing's built in a day. You can't put it in the microwave. Kids are going to learn and grow every single day, and we're going to push and push and push. And I think the biggest growth that I've seen this last week is the mindset. Like, our guys sprinted on the field. I know it sounds like a little deal, and it's the expectation of who we are, but we didn't have to send them back. They just did it the first time. We didn't have to yell, sprint on the field. They just did it. And little things like that, that's how you build culture, and that's how you build a winning program.
Courtesy, that audio of Florida State Sports Information. We do appreciate them helping out. So, Corey, I know I try to tell everybody to pump the brakes, and, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a 2-win team right now. That kind of stuff's got me a little bit excited, though. Feel a little bit good about it. Bring it on, Duke.
What, them just running on the field hard, fast?
Something clicked. Something clicked, Corey. Click.
Well, it is odd that like every coach to a man on Monday when we talked to him talked about that Tuesday practice. Just like Norvell I think we talked to Norvell last week, and he talked about it too, like it was the best practice they had or the energy they had. Jordan Travis talked about it, said it was special. What happened? Like, just like knowing that their season wasn't over, knowing that they weren't going to have to play Clemson, like what? And I guess I wasn't trying to be that facetious there, but like what provided that spark in their step? Look, man, better late than never. And really, when you think about building a program, it's not late at all. It's 8 games into a program building. So it's late in the season, but not late in Norvell's tenure, I guess I should say, or clarify. But what do you think it was? Like, because it's literally every person that's talked to us has mentioned that Tuesday practice as just feeling different, like something happened.
Well, I mean, Kenny Dillingham even said, hey, these things take time, I guess. I think maybe
But
part
what
of it
specifically? It had to be just another week off. They had 3 games canceled in a row, and I'm sure maybe some of them thought that's a wrap on the season, but then it's almost like they got a second life on the season. Plus, a lot of those guys know they're going to play. So maybe that picks up your pace a little bit when you know, because half the team's not on the team anymore, that you got a chance to play. Maybe that makes you pick up your pace. I don't know. But
I like that theory.
Good to see.
I don't know. I like that. I like the second part of your theory there. And just in terms like you're going to be relied on. You have to you're going to be out there. It's the name on the back of your jersey is going to be shining under that light, so you have to step up and perform. I also think, I don't know, man, I would say to a man, they would probably admit they felt some of the backlash on Twitter. They felt some of that venom from Dabo. They felt kind of the passive-aggressive comments from Bronco Mendenhall. Nobody wants to be known as like a loser, right? But I think even worse than that is like being a quitter or being scared. So I think some of that has to play into this as well, is the fact that, some of these guys, J-Rob, Jarvis Brownlee went on to Twitter and said, they wanted to play Clemson. They were ready to play Clemson. And I think by and large they realize that the country thinks that this team is not the most steely-spined amalgamation of athletes. So I think part of it too is like, all right, well let's figure this out, man. Let's actually let's put our best foot forward. We have some time here to kind of salvage things. Kind of curious to see how a guy like J-Rob does. He got kudos from John Papuchis because he can do all these sort of mental, all right, man, like I have to turn it on. Like, in August, like, hey, man, like I've got to play the best football of my life for the next 4 months so I can change my life and my family's life. And, you can say all that stuff and you can try, and then after a few games, maybe you kind of regress. But, they have a 2-game season. Maybe not even, at least they got 1 game promised to them, hopefully, here against Duke. Who knows if they'll be able to make it another week. But I don't know. I think maybe some of that plays into it as well, kind of to your point of like, hey, this is it. Like it's the last one. Like you're going to be relied upon for your team. And if you're a guy like J-Rob, like I don't know, man, get 4.5 sacks the next 2 games. Maybe get an invite to the Reese's Senior Bowl. That helps you out, man. It does. And and that's not the motivation people want to hear. People want to hear guys that want to be at Florida State and want to do good things to help this school and help this program out. And because Jimbo gave it such a bad name, like kids coming here to use your university to better themselves. But, hey, man, like every little bit helps, man. If J-Rob plays well to help his stock, it's going to help his defense too. So bring it. Yeah,
I like that you mentioned the sponsor of the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave them out in case they're looking to sponsor something else.
Hey, you never know, man.
Get Will Arnett on here. Yeah, Will Arnett on here to voice over some commercials for us. Sure, whatever it takes to get these guys to play well. I mean, look, most guys at Florida State, when they play really well, they're obviously thinking about playing at the next level too. They all come here with that goal in mind. So if J-Rob wants to go out and get 4.5 sacks in 2 weeks, nobody's going to stop him. I do think it was, again, it's something we're going to have to watch. It's senior day on Saturday for whatever that entails. I don't know if they're going to have roses handed out or anything like that. Probably not. But Norvell, when he was asked about it, said it a couple of times, like, yeah, we don't even know. Some of these guys have a chance to come back, and they might come back. They will. Like, they haven't had those conversations. J-Rob, Kando's not a senior, but J-Rob, Emmett Rice, people like that do have a chance theoretically to come back. Does he want to do that? Is Janarius Robinson going to be drafted? My money on that right now is no chance, but he has shown glimpses. He has some film where it's like, okay, wow, that looks like a real player. That looks like a guy that could play in the league. And then there's other film, obviously, where it's not great. So you don't know. Is it going to be Janarius Robinson's last game? Is it going to be Kando's last game? Is it going to be Nasruddin's last game? Who knows? But, I think that's something to watch as we talked about the quarterbacks yesterday. I think that's something to watch about and care about if you're a Florida State fan. Which one of these guys that you think normally would have left are going to come back for another year?
I think the biggest news probably, or the biggest sort of, wind gust into your sails as we go into mid-December with this team still playing football. It was obviously, I think, Gene's question about Jordan Travis. How healthy is he? How important has these weeks off been for him? And this was Dillingham's response.
It's huge. I mean, yesterday was the best he's thrown the ball since I've been here. And in my opinion, it wasn't even close. He came out with a purpose, extremely accurate. He was extremely dialed into the fundamentals. I mean, he came out, I don't know what happened. We gave him a few days off, and he came back, and his mind must be rejuvenated because that was the most focused, the most attention to detail, and the best he's thrown the ball since he's been here.
Hey, man, people coming for your job. We're talking about transfers coming in. Maybe that gives a little motivation to Jordan Travis. But in seriousness, though, that again, these are, I don't want to get everybody too excited. I'm not trying to serve up the Kool-Aid too overwhelming, but as we try to get back into feeling motivated to watch this team play football again, that's another thing to keep an eye on. Let's see if Jordan Travis, like a healthy Jordan Travis, maybe shows us a little bit something different as a throwing quarterback, as a passing quarterback. And when you hear that from your offensive coordinator, who's not really quick to hand out praise, again, these are things that make you feel intrigued. Maybe not excited, Corbin, maybe intrigued for what lies ahead Saturday.
What was odd about that, and it's awesome to hear that, obviously, if you're a Florida State fan, that Jordan Travis threw the ball well. Maybe he can be a good passer. But the fact that he threw in he seemed more focused, which kind of implies, was he not focused earlier in the season during practices, even when he was the starter?
Why going to negative town, Corey?
Well, I wonder what that means.
I think it's healthy. I would think you're healthy. Like you're not having you're worrying just about the play, the route, the throw. Maybe not. I got to make sure when I throw this ball, I move away so I don't absorb a hit, or my hand's not bothering me. Those kind of things possibly.
Or maybe just like, this is what we do on this play. Just try to get it there. However you have to get it there, but not really focusing on the technique of throwing the ball. The fundamentals of actually stepping into a throw, getting your hand where it's supposed to be, following through, whatever that might be when it comes to Jordan Travis's throwing mechanics. It might be that too. So that's good. I mean, that's positive. Again, I kind of perked up when I heard that. Like I know it wasn't a shot. It wasn't even a veiled shot. It just wasn't a shot at all. But it did make me wonder, like, okay, well, that kid was the starting quarterback for 4 weeks. Like, it seems like he would have been dialed in that whole time. But so what changed, I guess, if it was a focus issue? Not that he wasn't focused, but he was like maybe more like just laser focused for this practice. What changed with him? Why now? Is it because he knows he's the guy and it's nobody else? Well, I guess Rodemaker still around. So that I wondered that. But again, these are all positives. And these are, look, Jordan Travis is, like I just said, he started 4 games in his life. In his college career, I should say. I think he started in high school, right? Probably started some Pop Warner games and some middle school games. I don't know why I said life. That was weird. So if you got him, if he can raise his level these next 2 weeks, and like we talked about, he's been pretty good overall. But if he can raise his level to like something you really believe in heading into next season. Again, nothing but positives coming from that. And now I just want to see, now that they've talked about the way they practice, the energy they have, we know there are some limitations, especially on defense. They just don't have a lot of bodies. So I'm not expecting a goose egg. Fuller's not getting a spiked baseball this week for a shutout. That's not happening. But on offense, I want to see, after a month off and after with your quarterback now 5 weeks recovered from his injury, what this looks like, because it should be running close to optimum speed. You know what I mean? Like, I know they don't have the wideout. They don't have great playmakers out wide that have proven themselves anyway, and they're missing one of their running backs. But they also have Toafili, who's back. They have Corbin. They have a running back at quarterback who's dynamic when he runs the ball. Let's put up some points and some yards, man, against a real team and a real defense. Well, I don't know if Duke's a real defense, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, a healthy Jordan Travis gives you, I guess, what you had against North Carolina, other than Devontae Love-Taylor, who's important. He's really important. He was your starting left tackle. But yeah, they'll be back to what that, to that lineup to a certain degree of what they had. I actually know they won't have LaDamian Webb. That hurts. But maybe Toafili sees increased workload and he can kind of pick up the slack. But yeah, this should be like this. These next two games hopefully just gets you back to where you were hoping the trajectory of the season was going to go after you beat the number 5 team in the nation. But then, a guy got hurt even further, and then guys started opting out, and then your quarterback got injured and started missing game time. So, and everything went sideways. So, I guess that's kind of what you try to hang your hat on. And I don't know, maybe like Jordan Travis too. Maybe just got 1% better, and that's the 16% better he's gotten over the last 2.5 weeks has resulted in him being that much more focused.
I mean, so pretty soon, if you keep getting 1% better after 100 days, you're tapped out, right? You can't get any better than 100%. But yeah, no, I think that's what I really want to see because I'm just not. I can't put a lot of stock in this defense, especially the what do they have? How many cornerbacks they have on the depth chart?
Three. Let's go. Jarian, Jarvis, and Akeem.
Yeah. So you have 3 cornerbacks, 2 of which have been hurt for a good portion of the year. On your depth chart right now. So who knows what they'll do if they have to, I don't know if one of those guys goes down, who knows? But so the defense is a problem unto itself. And I just want to see this offense. I think Norvell, they led the nation in scoring last year, or yards or something. They were top 5 in both. They put up 40-something on Penn State. It's a real offense, and it's done really good things for years. And so far this year, I would say part of the Notre Dame game, part of the North Carolina game, and that's about a wrap on being impressed with this offense. So you now have 2 games left, you think, to just be impressive, to just give fans hope of what this can look like next year. And, Jordan Travis might be your starting quarterback next year. I mean, I think he's probably the leader in the clubhouse for that job. He gets 2 more games if he can stay upright. He gets 2 more games to add to his, not his resume, but add to his experience. So then he goes into next year with 6 starts in his career, which isn't a ton, but that's half a season. He'll be experienced, and especially if he has success. So we know we can run the ball. I would like to see him throw the ball a little better or make more plays with his arm. That's what I'll be looking for on Saturday. But again, I don't know how much we can put on Jordan Travis if these wide receivers don't have any separation and don't go make plays for him.
Well, again, it was the same crop that got open against North Carolina on some big busts. If he can run the ball, that's the thing. Like, he needs to avoid obvious passing situations. If he's healthy and he can run, he probably will. They'll be in 3rd and 4. It'll be 3rd and manageable. It won't be 3rd and 7. It won't be 3rd and 8. If Toafili and Jay Sean and him can combine for 7 yards or so on the first 2 plays of a drive of a sequence, they won't need him to do anything really crazy with his arm. So I'm excited just to see him at least maybe be a little bit healthy and be able to run a little bit more. And then I don't know, maybe actually do spin the ball a little bit better. It would be nice to make some throws in tight windows, some sort of anticipatory throws, as we like to call them back in the day around here, because I mean the big plays. And that's the thing. Like, the touchdown run that he had against North Carolina, the first one, like, is that a bust on North Carolina's part where everybody pretty much went and crashed on the running back and then Travis just kept it and busted it around the end? Like, do we give credit to Jordan for doing the right thing, or is
that's a read. I mean, that's a read, right? That's a reading a defense, and also he read the defense, but he's the only quarterback that's ever taken a snap at Florida State that would have scored on that play. Maybe Peter Warwick, if you want to count him, because even though he made a great read, he still had to make some guys miss. And other quarterbacks, they might make a great read, get 5 yards, and duck it down. And as he talked about last week about wanting to get bigger and stronger and stay healthy, and he has to be smarter. I do wonder now that he's had 5 weeks off and 5 weeks to think about staying healthy, and also knowing that Chubba Purdy's not there anymore. Neither is James Blackman. He only has one backup. Does he run differently than he has run?
Yeah.
Does he, instead of trying to make the safety miss and bust it for 50 yards or fall forward for a first down, he's sliding? Because to me, I get it. I understand you want to preserve your body, but that's not what makes him unique. That's not what he is a runner. It would be like, to me, Jashawn Corbin seeing a safety and just ducking down instead of trying to run him over or run past him or make a miss. And that's what I want to, that's another thing. It's all going to be, to me, it's really all about, the Toafili. I want to see what he looks like with some reps, some real reps, and he should be healthy. As Dillingham said, he had a burst. He's had a burst here lately. That's a good term for a football player. And then
why would it be a bad term?
Well, right. Burst, like you could burst, if your stomach bursts.
Oh yeah.
Or if your your appendix. You don't want your appendix to burst. Yeah. Come on, man.
Okay. Sorry.
So a good burst.
Yeah.
And then I want to see if the wide receivers can do anything at all.
Okay.
Just go make plays. Can Warren Thompson? That was a good question you asked, Norvell. Can Warren Thompson? I think it was Norvell you asked that, right?
Yeah.
Not Dillingham.
Yeah.
Can Warren Thompson make plays? Can he make some plays? Can any of these receivers go make plays against DBs that aren't very good, but as Dillingham said, they will challenge you. They are not complex at all. They will challenge you. They don't do anything fancy in the secondary. They play man-to-man press coverage and expect that you can't win the man-to-man war. You can't win the one-on-one. They're taking their shot that you won't win the one-on-one. At some point this year, Florida State receivers not named Tamorian Terry have to make plays one-on-one.
Last season, Memphis had the number 10 total offense, 485 yards per game, 8th scoring offense, averaging over 40 points per game. Just a shade, 40.4.
Yeah, so I know it's different. Like he didn't play Notre Dame and Miami last year. But still, they just, relative to their talent, the defense that they were facing, and I know they had a couple really good players, some playmakers, but they were just blitzing these teams. And they put up points on Penn State. So it's just, but this year they've been not good. I don't know how else to describe it. They've been hindered by the quarterback play. Weirdly, because that's what I was talking about yesterday, is like for the first time, I think Florida State feels pretty good about their quarterback room going into next season. But still, when you look at the quarterback play in 2020 as a whole, it's been dreadful. Just not good. It's not good enough. Jordan Travis has been a nice player, but he hasn't been healthy. And he hasn't been a great thrower of the ball. Chubba Purdy's had one game. Rodemaker and Blackman were awful in their time. It just hasn't been a good quarterback play. So that would be nice to see. For two straight games to finish the season is to get solid quarterback play.
9 of the 13 games last season that he was the coach for. I won't count Penn State, although you seem to be counting Penn State for him. So whatever. 9 out of 12 games, his team scored 35 or more points. So it's pretty good.
And this year they've scored 0, right? Or they've had 0 games like that, right? Maybe Jacksonville State, but that doesn't count. FBS schools, they've had 0 games of 35-plus points. And it's not like they played a murderer's row defensively. They played some good ones, but not Georgia Tech's not a great defense. The NC State certainly isn't. Neither's Louisville. So, anyway.
Yeah, they put 41 up on Jacksonville State.
Take that, Jack State. Oh. How'd that taste coming into Doak? I didn't taste too good, did it, Jack State?
That was their only loss. They pplayed a 4-game schedule. The only loss they had was against Florida State.
So. Oh, that should help their Florida State's RPI or whatever. That must help their national. Where are they in FMRAU? Does he have them pretty high up with that big win over Jack State?
Don't have that one in front of me. I don't. Their defense last year, total defense, 61st.
Who?
Memphis. Adam Fuller.
Okay.
383 yards of offense he was allowing.
That's not terrible.
No, not that common. The crazy thing is team passing efficiency, which I don't even know what the hell that means. They were 16th, 20th in passing yards allowed. They allowed under 200 yards of passing per game in a conference that I think is kind of pass happy. I mean, Tulsa, SMU, Houston, Tulane.
Yeah, UCF, right?
Yeah, but they didn't play UCF last year.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that probably helped.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Come here and I don't know. Apparently, Memphis has got they're the DBU. Memphis.
Yeah,
is
they
DBU,
got all the players.
apparently.
They got all the players at Memphis apparently.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Corey. You got anything else for the people? I'm going to bring Michael Langston and talk recruiting because, to your point, it does look like it was a little bit busier day than I thought it was. I know they got the commitment, but apparently some guys now announced them in their top 4.
Yeah,
one of their verbal commits for 2022 has been bumped up to a 5-star. So I'm going to bring Michael in. You want to do this tomorrow? You want to do it live?
I guess we'll do it live. Maybe there's some doctors or chiropractors out there that can give me some advice.
What's going
just
on?
Tweet at me.
What's wrong?
So I was transcribing the press conference on Monday, just sitting in my chair like I do.
Transcribing like a champion.
I do what I do. I have it up on my lap. My footstool's kicked out. I'm nice and relaxed, reclining a little bit, and all of a sudden I get this weird pain in my back, like underneath my left shoulder. And it feels like, sometimes you'll get like a knot or something, and you feel like you got to like stretch it out and get it to pop.
Right.
Well, it's not popping, and it just anytime I move, it doesn't feel good. So that's a little troubling, worrisome. But look, as you guys can tell, you've listened to this show. I'm a warrior. I'm going to fight through it. I only said it at the end of the show, Aslan, because I wanted people to see how tough I am, and that it sounded like I was playing 100%.
Yeah, let's do some self-myofascial release. Let's get some of that scar tissue. Let's get some of that fascia released, and the adhesions on the muscle surface. Let's get that massaged out.
I didn't understand most of the words you just said, but it sounds good. I like what you're saying. I do probably need a massage. I'm gonna have Brady jump on my back, like stand on my back, and see if he can pop it. But that's probably not going to be a good idea.
I was so scrawny when I was a kid. My uncle, whenever we'd go visit him, he used to have, he'd be like, all right, walk on my back. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, get on my back, walk. I'm like, all right. So
I might do that, and I'll record it, and then we can play it on the show later after Langston.
Splendid. We will be getting the coach and some offensive players, I'm thinking, later on Tuesday. But do stay connected to warchant.com or warchant.com. To find out how that goes. Corey hopefully will be able to grin and bear it and crank it out as he always does. But let's put a bookmark in here and let's come right back in a few shakes of a lamb's tail and talk to Michael Langston about Florida State recruiting. The website is mybookie.com. The promo code is WARCHANT. Use it. Corey, what do you think about this? So I got into wagering on games late in the game, I guess you can say. Because I didn't know how the whole point spread stuff worked out. So this is what I use to like conceptualize and visualize and describe to people how point spreads work. So Florida State is a 3-point favorite against Duke. So you'll see Duke at FSU -3. The -3 means Florida State is favored by 3 points. Conversely, Duke is then +3 because they are a 3-point underdog. Now, what I do to explain to people how this all works is that it just becomes simple math at that point. So if Florida State wins the game in real life 30-24, you would simply subtract the -3. So Florida State's a 3-point favorite. You would -3 from their point total of 30. And then the outcome in quotation marks, is Florida State 27, Duke 24. So you know that, all right, your team that you bet on, Florida State, with the point spread, you deducted the points from them, they won the game still on that paper. So that's how I use to figure out the spreads. Is that an overcomplicated way of a simple thing?
I mean, kind of. In my opinion anyway, Florida State's favored by 3. So if you bet on Florida State, you just want them to win by more than 3.
Okay.
But that's kind of what you said, but you used an actual score. I mean, that's just how it works. And if you're taking Duke and the points, you don't mind if Duke loses if they only lose by a point or 2 points. But if they lose by 6 points, you lost your bet. If you take Florida State -3 and they win by 2, you lost your bet. So so let's use a better example. Clemson -35 against Florida State. So, Aslan, let me ask you a question. If Clemson had beaten Florida, say you took Clemson and you gave the 35. That's what we call it in the business. You're giving the points. You're taking the overdog, not the underdog. You're taking the favorite, and you're given 35 points. So, if Clemson had beaten Florida State 71-17, did you win the bet?
If I bet on the favorite, Clemson, yes.
Yes,
Because they won by more than 35 points.
That's right. They won by, quick math tells me they won by 54 points. Oh. So, yeah, you covered it easily. Where the real drama in sports gambling can come down to heavy favorites, like a 22-point favorite, having the game wrapped up with 2 minutes to go, but the other team is driving to try to get a meaningless score. No. That's where you see a lot of white knuckles around sports gambling, but that's the beauty of it. Yeah. That's the beauty. Anybody can pick who's going to win. Come on, everybody can do that. It's who's going to win by how much. That's the game, and that's the fun of it.
Corey Clark is always distilling things down to their essence, making it easy. So does MyBookie.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT. They will match your first deposit up to half. So you put in $100, they'll give you $50, and you can play around with that. And then Corey's going to drop some winners for us later in this week. Can't wait for it, man. Cannot wait.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll talk again on Sunday and see if you like my picks.
Welcome back. It's still Wake Up Warchant, still presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good. We got Michael Langston, Warchant.com recruiting analyst, on the program to talk about none other than recruiting. Monday was a busy one, Michael, and no game being played, but Florida State somehow able to, I guess, use that time off maybe to make an impression on a young man from Miami, Northwestern High School, Patrick Payton, defensive end you kind of project, speed rusher, I guess. Yeah. How in the world did Florida State get themselves a guy that a lot of people like and think that's a bit underrated at a 3-star rating?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that they were in on for a while, ever since that Norvell and the staff has been in place. I mean, he was originally committed to Nebraska, and they stayed on him. He was a guy that they targeted from the start, so this wasn't a new development. He was a guy that they certainly wanted and didn't hesitate on, and the kid already had previous interest in FSU because he camped at FSU when Jimbo Fisher was here. He's visited the campus a few times as well. So this is a place that he knew he was comfortable with, and then he saw that they have a really big need as far as a speed edge rusher, and that's what he's going to bring. And certainly a guy that I think it fit both sides. It fit both with Patrick, and then it certainly fit with FSU needing some speed rushers and edge rushers, and so it wasn't like something where they had to create the interest. I think once, and I told our people in the PRB that once he decommitted from Nebraska, I felt pretty good about where they were, as long as the hometown team Miami didn't push. Now if they pushed, then I would be concerned, but then found out I don't think they're going to push. I don't think they can push at all because they just don't have the room. So I think it really set up really nicely for FSU to pull that that pickup off with Patrick Payton out of Miami Northwestern.
6'5", 205-pound prospect. I guess you said it there, Michael. I'm glad you were able to kind of clarify maybe why Miami wasn't in on him, because I did see a couple people on YouTube being like, well, he's from Miami. How come Miami didn't go after him? But it's a numbers game, and I guess if you're Florida State, you're just hoping that you're evaluating guys better than other programs. So just because Miami doesn't have room doesn't necessarily mean that Peyton isn't better than guys they have. They just think they got better guys in the fold, but hopefully Peyton ends up being a better prospect than them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's about what fits your program, and it's like the fact that Miami was even considered and trying to see if they had room kind of tells you a lot about as far as where things were at and as far as how talented a prospect this guy is. And I think it's a big jolt for their recruiting. I mean, they need some positive momentum, and to go along with that, there seems to be some positive momentum in the the recruiting circles for FSU, which we didn't know was totally expected or not. I mean, you got a 2-16 that hasn't played in 3 weeks, so there wasn't a lot to build on as far as right now. But I think there's some positive momentum building for FSU in the recruiting circles.
Let's see if they can kind of build it and use it to maybe lure a JuCo guy. This happened later on Monday evening. Georgia Military College pass rusher Byron Young is a guy now that seems to have opened up his recruiting, has 4 teams that are in the mix. Florida State is one of them. Young is a 6'3", 240-pound defensive end. What sort of a chance would you give the Noles with this guy?
Yeah, I think they're very thickly into the mix. I'd say Auburn and FSU are the 2 teams that I hear the most with him. I think he's a guy that FSU's jumped on for a while. I mean, I think they've been on him for several months. I think he's a guy they offered about a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a guy that certainly they've been attracted to. They know they need immediate help. Just kind of goes to what I've kind of highlighted throughout the year, that this is the most important position, and as far as what they need to add to, and we're going to see that in the transfer market, and then obviously in the high school and JuCo market. And this is just another example of those guys where a guy can come in there and help you immediately. Coming off JuCo, sounds like he's one of the the best JuCo defensive ends out there. So I think Coach JP's been on him. I think Adam Fuller, a lot of the defensive staff has been on him. They've talked to him for a while. I know even Norvell's had several conversations with him. So they're pushing pretty hard for him. So I think right now it appears that he's going to take his time and slowly go through this process. So that's probably good news for FSU, where they can keep working that relationship angle, and in the fact that I would say Auburn, Florida State would be the teams to watch in that recruitment.
He played in 11 games as a freshman, had 31 tackles, 7 sacks. He's rated a 3-star defensive end in the class of 2021, again from Georgia Military College. Let's still keep it here in the class of 2021. Shyheim Brown, you're going to have a feature on him. He was the latest commitment for Florida State until Patrick Payton jumped into the mix. Shyheim Brown, some people might have sort of snickered about the fact that he had no stars next to his name. He's now got 3 of them. What did you see from that young man Friday night when you went down to Lake City, Columbia? Or did you?
Yeah, it was really good. I spent all day. I got there really early in the afternoon, probably around lunchtime. I had a one-on-one with Shyheim, and then I also had a one-on-one with Brian Allen. Brian Allen had some really good stuff. It was interesting. Brian really talked about Norvell, and he can relate to what Norvell's going through, because that's what he had to go through when he first took over Lake City. So it was a good conversation. That we'll have more on that later. But then Shyheim, I was just very impressed with the mindset this kid, the way he attacks the game, and just he's kind of one of those old school football players, Aslan, that he's really old school. He's like the guys that more like similar to the players that Jimbo recruited on those 2013 teams, national championship team. He has that mindset, the way he plays. Very similar, I posted on the board, very similar his mindset to Travis Jay, who people know I'm very high on. And he's similar to him as far as the way he attacks the game. And then also his skill set is very good. I mean, here's the deal. I mean, he's playing outside. He's playing linebacker for Lake City, Columbia, but he's technically really his best positions are cornerback and safety, even more so cornerback, where he's really – that's his position. So you're thinking about playing a cornerback consistently all year long as a linebacker, and you're asking him to do that, and this kid just didn't blink or flex or fidget or anything. He gets out there, plays with a lot of physicality, had 15 tackles, 1 forced fumble. This guy was the lead gunner on their special teams, which I've done this for 21 years. I've never had a kid that takes as much passion as Shyheim Brown does in special teams, which I know Norvell is going to love, because we know how important special teams is to him. But I was just really blown away by this kid, of just, 1, the swagger and confidence this kid has, and then 2, the work ethic this kid brings, that he does stuff on his own. You usually don't get kids, especially out of high school, that understand the work ethic of what you're going to do when you go to the next level, or even any level. Just, he does a lot of working on his own. He does a lot of, the coaches don't have to tell him to do this or that. He's already he's overdoing what he's supposed to do, like even in the preseason. And I think it's just old school. I mean, he goes back to that old school type of kid that are old school type of football players like FSU's had in past years, where where you say, okay, that's a guy that, we built our program around, that's a championship type of player. I mean, we saw that with, when Terrence Brooks was here and all the other top prospects, even in 2013. And I think Brian Allen gave the biggest compliment to him. He's like, Mike, he could play on those 98-9 teams. That's the type of player. He has the mindset and skill set to play with those guys that we had on the 98 and the 99 team that won the national championship. So I think that was a major plug for Shyheim as far as his skill set. And I can tell people this, Brian Allen does not do that too often, where he really boasts about his kids, where he says that kind of proclamation about a player. So that tells you a lot about how valuable he is to that Lake City team. And like I said, he played, I think he missed like maybe 2 or 3 defensive plays like all game, or he was on the sideline where he was resting. I mean, that's how much he was working. And then he played the entire second half on offense at receiver, and he played every snap on special teams. So this kid is so valuable to their team that he plays in so many different places that I just think he's going to be a guy that the FSU fans just fall in love with. Like, they're going to love this kid. Yeah, he's not ranked as a 5-star. Do I think he has 4-star talent? Absolutely. But probably what hurts him is he plays linebacker, even though that's not his natural position. So that probably hurts his kind of where you can rank him. But I think this kid's a 4-star talent. I think fans are going to fall in love with him when he gets to FSU and they see the type of things that he's going to instill in that program.
So definitely be on the lookout for that. Michael's going to have a feature on Shyheim Brown up on Warchant here this week, so do stay connected to warchant.com. Just wanted to go back one thing. Byron Young, the JuCo defensive end, he does plan on enrolling in January and will announce in December, so that's good. Also, if you need some more rooting interest, maybe root against Auburn, everybody. Maybe, Gus gets fired. Maybe that helps things out. So just a little bit of rooting interest that you possibly might need. And then last thing on the way out, Michael, let's look ahead to the future, 2022. Travis Hunter from Suwanee, Georgia, got that coveted 5th star. You saw that one coming, though, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I've told people all year, we talked through our recruiting chats that, this guy is one of the most dynamic players in the country. I think he's up to 12 now in the Rivals, national rankings. I mean, I think this kid has a chance to be a top 5 guy, even one of the best players in the country. I mean, that's how dynamic he is. And Marcus Woodson, Coach Norvell, all the coaches and the FSU staff, they've done an incredible job. Everyone always asks me because, FSU struggling, like, was he going to stick? Is he going to stick? It's like, this kid's not going anywhere as long as Marcus Woodson's there. And everything I've gotten is that Woodson plans to be there for a while. FSU was actually one of his dream schools that Marcus Woodson loved, that he wanted to play for. So the fact that he's coaching here, I think he's going to be here, for a while, and I think he's very happy there. And I think another thing with Travis is Travis grew up FSU being his dream school, so I think that was also a big deal. But as far as his talent, this guy is tremendously talented. I don't know where my thing is going to be. Where are you going to play this dude? Because he is so electric. He is so electric. As far as what he does on the field at receiver. And then we know how he can shut down the field on defense. So I think you might be looking at, by the time he gets to FSU, which I'm sure they would love if he would reclassify to 2021. But I think by the time he gets to FSU, you could be looking like a Charles Woodson situation where you see him on offense and defense because he's just so dynamic on both sides of the ball. And you want to get the ball in the hands of that kid so fast.
He's got 20 touchdowns on the year receiving as well.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He's ridiculous, and he's one of the best players in the country, and they did a phenomenal job. This was a lot on Norvell and his staff. Everyone's like, I think one guy on our message board said, "Well, did he committed before they got?" No, he did not. He committed in March, and he committed on March 3rd. And Woodson did a really good job there. Norvell did a really good job of pitching what they're going to be, and also selling, how he would fit into there. And we hear this a lot with kids, and you'll hear this with Shyheim. They treat a lot of these kids like a personal relationship, like with a just like their people and not so much, the football aspects. Yes, football is important, but I think FSU's taking a personal side to their recruitments. And I think they did that with certainly with Travis, and that made a big influence in him. Because it's like they're always, when somebody's always there for you. I mean, say for God forbid you get really injured really bad, and while you're at FSU, these guys are going to have your back. I mean, that's the feeling recruits get, and that's the players get. So we can already see like what they're going to sell and what their advantages are with this staff. They're really big on personal relationships. They're really big on fit, and they'll show all those things. But I think personal relationships with this staff is very important when it comes to the kids they have in this program.
There you go. Look at that. You had Corey Clark talking about the football team in the present. You got Michael Langston breaking down the recruiting for the future. It's a pretty good show. It's a nice square meal that you all just had right there. So appreciate Michael taking time out of his day to talk recruiting here on Wake Up Warchant. That's a wrap for the show today. We'll be back live Tuesday night on YouTube. So do be on the lookout for that. If not, go to the Premium Recruiting Board, get your recruiting fix, and go to warchant.com and get your Florida State fix. For Corey and Michael, I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.